What's going on, YouTube? I know it's been a minute coming back. I have been away trying to grow out this luxurious beard, and based off all my extensive YouTube research, I have decided that I just don't touch it. Just let it grow. I've tried in the past, and I think I was just shaping it too much. The analogy they use is if you're trying to cut a dinosaur out of like a bush, like a hedge, you don't try to cut it as it grows. You wait for it to grow out, and then you shape it. So that's kind of what I'm doing. It's a new endeavor of mine. But anyway, I wanted to come at you because I thought of making this video based off what someone posted on Facebook the other day. Basically, it was asking, what do you think the purpose or meaning of life is, if there is any, like if we have any destiny or predetermined paths. And it just kind of made me think of you guys. So what I had answered was, I said, from a non-religious perspective, meaning and purpose are all, subjective to the individual. What is important and meaningful to me might be meaningless to someone else. And I feel like the more you look at your life on a micro scale and you look at everything from your day-to-days, things seem really important. Like, let's say, like this year I ended up owing like $2,700 on my taxes, which I don't even know how that happens. I claimed zero on both my jobs, but whatever. But it can seem like such like a big blow, but then you zoom out from even just a planetary sense, and it's absolutely meaningless. It doesn't mean a goddamn thing. So when people ask, or like in that question, it was asked, what is the meaning? It really comes down to, what is your meaning of life? What do you feel like your purpose, what you want your purpose to be? Because I feel like if there was any predetermined path, it would kind of make the whole point of this kind of meaningless, But what we kind of started going back and forth, and it extrapolated into whatever it is that you want to do with your life, you need to just go do it, because it all is so fleeting and so fast, and it's easy to sit by and think about, oh, it would be great if I could do that, but XYZ is keeping me from getting there. And the only really thing stopping you from getting there is yourself. I've realized this since I've stopped drinking, and in sobriety, that, even through people saying like, well, this is the way you can get sober, this is what you should be doing, and by me doing it the way that worked for me, finding out a method that worked for me, I was not kind of inadvertently proving them wrong, but more so teaching myself the fact that anything that I want to do, I can literally just go do it. That's the biggest difference between so many people, is that the people that are doing are actually doing it. The people that are not doing it are wishing that they were, or telling themselves that they can't. For me, and like how that conversation kind of went, there were some people that started throwing in like the religious hat into the ring, and I was like, I really wasn't addressing that aspect of anything. I meant more in the sense of, do we all have a predetermined path, or do we all have this like destiny for ourselves? And like, you could argue that, my destiny is to help others kind of achieve what I have achieved, or like to be able to realize what I've been able to realize, is probably a more accurate description of that. But I still don't think that that's my destiny, like that's why I was put here. I don't think we were put here. I said in the argument, I was like, Earth doesn't even need to be here. The solar system doesn't need to be here. Like things will still be without this when it's gone, so, and oddly enough, I take a lot of comfort in that fact, like where I think a lot of people might see, the lack of purpose and meaning, or a divine plan or anything like that, as kind of like empty and vacant and hollow and kind of scary. I see it as an opportunity to say, well, then you can do whatever the fuck you want. Like there are no rules. None of this matters. Just go do whatever you want, and that's not to say you still shouldn't be a good person, like it's just means that there are no, preconceived things that you have to abide by. If you want to go, if you want to go live in Australia and you want to be a diving instructor, what the hell's to stop you from doing that? If you're an able-bodied person, you can work up, get the funds, and find out a way to get there. And within, a couple of years' time, you could be doing that. And I think it just takes that one first thing for you to achieve, or accomplish. And for me, that was stopping drinking, and it just kind of opened my mind so much to like, wow, I really can just do whatever the hell I want to do. Like, I just have to want to do it and then go do it. And for me, I finally wanted to stop drinking, and so then I just stopped drinking. But now that's allowed me to apply that in every single aspect of my life. And I think eventually I want to travel here. I mean, next year is when I'm going to start traveling and stuff. But I almost kind of always looked at that as a pipe dream. And now that I have that so locked in to my reality that, like, I know it's going to happen, and I'm excited for it. The other thing I wanted to talk about was it kind of ties into all this, is where I feel like even as an alcoholic, that eventually the alcohol focal point needs to drop out of your life. And the reason why I brought this up, I've just had a lot of conversations with people about AA and stuff, and a couple comments and being like that maybe I misinterpreted the overall message of it, or that I didn't give it like a sincere shot. And I'm not trying to convince anyone to not go. I'm really not. And if it's your style and if it works for you, then by all means go do it. Like, I'm not trying to bash on AA. I was just trying to share why it's not appealing to me, and why it doesn't, soothe what ails me. But I think ultimately the focus, whether it be to not drink or to drink, is still alcohol. And at the end of the day, I think you want to get past the alcohol aspect, and you want to live your life carefree from it, And that's what I have at this point. Like, I never, ever think about maybe taking a sip of alcohol or anything, because you just build a life that is worth living, and you don't want to fuck that up, So it's not even an option. It's not a desire or an urge or anything to have happen. And something recently happened. Good friend of mine from back in the day, Boone Wiley Vodney was his whole name. I met him, I think, when I was around like 17, and we became really close and was really into the punk rock scene, and went to a bunch of shows, and we drank a lot together, did a bunch of drugs together, but like at his core, he was a really good person, and I have a lot of love for that guy. And I just found out last week that he was found dead in New Orleans, and the cause of death has not been released, but I know that he was recently finally clean off of heroin, something that I have dealt with in my past. And usually how it goes with people that get clean is they relapse one night and the body can't take their old tolerance, and it ends up killing them. And like I said, the cause of death wasn't released, so this is speculation at this point. But it sucks, and it's kind of crazy just to see how lives can branch out and differ like that, because he was always kind of this, train hopping, traveling, punk rock kind of guy that definitely, partied hard, boozed hard, drugged hard, and in the end, I think that's really what caught up to him. And here I am on the other end of the spectrum, where I'm sober now, and I'm alive, and Boone is gone now, and it sucks, but it's those little life lessons, little things that pop up that you see, and you're just like, wow, like, it's that juxtaposition, that reflection of what could have been had you not made different decisions, and it's just kind of a trip. But anyway, yeah. So it comes down to the decisions you make, and to remove the alcohol aspect as the focal point, and to continue to do things that you've either always wanted to do, or branch out and learn to seek out new things that you want to do. I guess what this all boils down to is that life is very, very fleeting, and you shouldn't take for granted that you're even gonna get the next day, and you should be stoked that you're even here today. And I think that drinking in a massive way is, the way we drink anyway, is such a disservice to, your overall gift of life, because alcohol is such a pause button. It makes you just not deal with things and not have to suck it up and work through things emotionally. It allows you to just turn things off for a second. But a second usually turns into a minute, an hour, a day, a week, a month, years. And next thing you know, you're like, oh my God, I'm 40 years old. I haven't done a goddamn thing except for drink this entire time and feel bad about my drinking. So I continually drink more so I don't have to feel bad about it. It's an endless cycle. And you got to figure out a way to break it. And the biggest way for me to break it was to just stop fucking drinking, admit I'm an alcoholic and that I can't drink anymore. But when you get that rhythm going and you literally just start living your life and it gets better and better and better, then you don't want to fuck that up. And then before you know it, the whole idea of you being like an alcoholic truly starts to like fade in the distance. I mean, even when I'm talking to people now, they're like, oh, what do you think of this beer? Because I work at 2 breweries, and I'm like, it's good. And I describe the beer to them. It's juicy, it's fruity, it's this, it's that. And they're like, what's your favorite beer? And like, it doesn't really come up unless we keep going back and forth, and then I get kind of like dead-ended. And that's when I'm like, actually, I don't drink. I used to drink a whole lot. Now I don't drink at all. I'm an alcoholic, and it usually kind of shocks people. And in the beginning, I was always very I wanted to tell people that I was an alcoholic, because I think I was just so happy that I finally came to that realization and was able to admit it. But now it's, it'll be 2 years. Actually, I should make a video. I will. On April 2nd will be 2 years that I haven't drank. And I mean, I have not looked back, man. I love it. I absolutely love it. I'm sorry for the kind of all over the ness that this video has. Thinking about Boone just kind of derailed my thought process. But anyway, I think I got the majority of the message out there. Once again, thank you guys for subscribing and listening to me. I'm always surprised that there's as many of you out there listening to me ramble on, because I don't really do any editing in these videos, and I'm just talking to you guys. Someone actually commented in a previous video, because I said, I was like, you should listen to these while you're doing the dishes or cleaning, so you don't have to watch me the entire time. And he was like, that's exactly, or she, maybe, I think it was a girl, was like, that's exactly what I've been doing this whole time, is listening to you while I clean and do dishes. So it's really good audiobook background noise to listen to me ramble. But like I said, thank you very much, you guys. I'll probably see you then on my 2-year anniversary for not drinking. Hopefully this beard will be a little bit more full. I'm kind of doing the whole Ragnar thing, getting that braided going on. I'm just gonna kind of do the Viking thing for a while, see where that takes me. Maybe we'll go on some raids, show people how to live life without booze. I'll be a sober Viking. Anyway, like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. Let people know about my channel if you feel like it would help them or they'd enjoy it. And I will talk to you guys all next time. Later.